The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Drivers, start your engines. Pull those belts down tight one more time, warm up those tires, hit your marks, and let's go racing, boys and girls. Nascar, Indycar, Formula One, Formula E, and NHRA Racing Talk. This is the Championship Racing Network. Now here is your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson, with producer John Myers.
Well, you take a week off and the racing world explodes. That's the best way to put it. Matt and I, along with producer John on CRN Live on YouTube, we're going to try and talk you through all of it. We have IROC and Formula E news, and that's pretty big in and of itself when you really stop and think about it, because we don't talk a whole lot of IROC lately, and Formula E's been pretty quiet even though they've gotten into the racing season. Indycar is going to join in celebrating our nation's 250th birthday in a big way. We'll tell you all about it. Plus, moonlighters galore coming to Daytona. And we might get in some Cup Series racing this weekend. Maybe. Depends on Mother Nature. Who, by the way, got in the way of our plans. We'll detail that as well, because it's going to interrupt more things coming up in the very near future. Stick around. It's all on CRN next.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network. to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Yeah, let's get into it, shall we? Let's talk first of all about why we took last weekend off. We were going to go to the National Motorsports Press Association conference in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Keyword were.
Didn't. The state of Alabama had this weird little bubble over it to where we didn't get affected. Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, Georgia, South North Carolina, they all got affected to the point where traveling was not possible. So we didn't go.
Nope.
And right about the time we decided not to go, we got a message from the NMPA that said that they were delaying the conference to next weekend. So guess what? I hate to say it, but we're not going to do the show next weekend. Pending weather.
Yeah.
I'll state that right up front.
Keyword.
If the weather cooperates, we'll go. If the weather doesn't cooperate like it did last weekend, we'll be here. It actually did work out to the benefit, though, because as you may have heard if you watched a Cross Flags podcast this week, Matt was not really going to be able to do the show last weekend anyway because his throat was not cooperating. So there you go. It gave him a week to recuperate, gave me a week to just kind of relax. And, well, truth be told, help my wife celebrate her birthday. Happy birthday, babe. So there you go. That's the plan right now. We'll know more as we get to it. So, yeah, the plan is, we're not going to be here next weekend, which means a whole lot more news will probably blow up. I'll just let you know that right now.
Probably so.
So here we go. All right, speaking of talking about it on Cross Flags, we did mention the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona, slowed by heavy fog, moved in late last Saturday evening, prompted IMSA officials to call out the safety car combo, the Porsche GT3 and Porsche 962 for, 7 hours?
Yep, 7 hours, 120 laps.
Meant the entire field got locked down to just cruising around at 60 miles per hour for that entire time. But there was racing at the beginning and finally when it came to the end. For the third year in a row, the winners, Porsche Penske Motorsport, found their way to victory lane overall. Covered the GTB division with Felipe Nasser, Lauren Heinrich, and Julian Andlauer. Winning trio of drivers. They just bested the Cadillac Wayland entry that had Connor Zilic as one of their quartet of pilots for that Cadillac V-Series R entry. LMP2, it was the CrowdStrike Racing by APR entry driven by the quartet of Toby Sowery, Alex Quinn, Malthy Jacobson, and George Kurtz. They finished 10th overall. Top GTD division, Pro Division specifically, finisher came home 19th. That was the foursome of Max Hesse, Connor DeFilippi, I should say, Neil Verhagen, and Dan Harper. That was in the Paul Miller Racing BMW M4 GT3 Evo entry. Man, we get long names out of this, don't we? And finally, the GTD Windward Racing Mercedes AMG T3 entry with, drivers Russell Ward, Indy Doncha, Philip Ellis, and Lucas Auer. They finished 27th overall. Of the 60 entrants, 49 were able to actually finish the race, which is not bad for an endurance race, but also helped out by the fact that you're cruising around at less than interstate. I say less than interstate speeds. Welcome to the state of Alabama. Less than interstate speeds for 7 hours.
Let's call it Highway 280 speeds.
You been on Highway 280 lately?
Yeah, I was on it yesterday, actually.
Just saying. So there you go. This weekend's slate of racing actually starts Formula E set to run their one and only race in the United States this year. It's the Miami E-Prix. They're going to run on a shortened version of the F1 course around Hard Rock Stadium. This version, 14 turns, 1.44 miles long. The race will be seen somewhere, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Time here in the United States. One would hope CBS would actually put this on the main network. But again, I've stopped looking it up just because it's really, really difficult to find out where they're going to put the Formula E race. So I'll say I hope they put it on CBS, but I'm not going to guarantee anything.
True.
Okay. Also, slated to be the beginning of the NASCAR season, the Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium set to happen tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time, set to air on MRN Radio and Fox, weather permitting. Let's get back into that. Saturday, today, the high 22, the low tonight, 15 in the Charlotte, North Carolina, Winston-Salem, North Carolina area with a chance of snow. And as the week got on, that chance got better and better. Sunday, high 28, low 14. They're saying no snow on Sunday for now. But again, very, very cold. So let's take this in the order that we kind of got the news here, okay? Let's assume right now, and this question goes to the racer of the show, one Matt Nicholson. If they run, they're running at night, under the lights, with a high temperature that was only 28 and dropping down to 14 Sunday night, going into Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
What does the team and what does the driver do to prepare for conditions like that?
That's, let's just say this is one of the times you're glad where the exhaust comes out underneath your feet.
That's the one time it works to your benefit?
Yeah, the one time it will work to your benefit because it's going to be brutally cold in the car.
Okay.
Preparing the car, you soften the suspension up as much as it can stand and I hope it holds because the grip level is going to be absolutely to ridiculous levels.
Sure. If you're Goodyear, what are you bringing? Are you bringing the softest tires?
See, here's the one thing you've got to add into the factory.
And remember, this is the short track package that they're coming to Bowman Gray with, which means they're bringing the 750 horsepower version.
The one thing you've got to play into a factor here, and it's, in my opinion, is going to be a question mark and it's going to be an unknown. Last week before the ice storm fell, the racetrack was treated with a brine solution.
Mm-hmm.
That is, by technicality, that is a the solution that is considered best way to word it here. That would be considered an additive to treat tires because, hear me out.
Okay.
Because whatever is on that racetrack still, because I would be very, very willing to bet they probably treated it again for the snow that is now falling in the Winston-Salem area.
Almost undoubtedly. Yeah.
So whatever's still left residue-wise on that racetrack, tires are going to pick it up.
Sure.
You don't know what the tires are going to do because you can't, these tires always go untreated. So you don't know what it's going to pick up. You don't know what it's going to do. If it's going to absolutely amplify them and make them and increase the grip, or if it's going to do something to where it breaks them down. Reason I say that is because I have seen that very thing happen with dirt tires. I have seen treatments. Old school guys know what I'm talking about. Treat tires to get grip out of them, to make them softer.
Mm-hmm. What they used to call soaking the tires.
Soaking them.
Yeah.
Basically a default way of soaking them. It will either amplify them to the point to where you've got absolute sponges and it will hold up for as long as you want them to hold, or to the point to where whatever hits it rips them apart.
So we really don't know what to expect. Goodyear really probably doesn't even know what to expect.
They
100%.
probably don't, because you don't know how the tire combination is going to react to whatever treatment is on that track to help it from having too much ice, freezing over, or whatever.
Okay.
You don't know how it's going to react.
All right. Well, things changed a little bit Thursday afternoon. NASCAR announced all Saturday activities planned for Bowman Gray Stadium got moved into Sunday afternoon starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Time. Again, forecast calling for anywhere from 1 to 8 inches of snow today, and this was Thursday. NASCAR wanted to let emergency crews and road crews be able to work for the public, not be needed at the track. Again, things may change. I'm not even sure now that we're day of. I don't know whether they still have yet to figure out exactly how much snow they're thinking they're going to get. I think it's still a pretty wide window, in other words. So while you're looking that up, Ben Kennedy talked earlier this week about this opener and noted that Bowman Gray officials, again, plowed the track, removed the snow from the racing surface last weekend. They allowed it time to dry in the sunny but cold weather that they experienced through the course of the week. The football field inside the track remains snow-covered. That's not an important thing. If you look at the picture that's on CRN Live on YouTube, if you happen to be up there, this was last year when there was no snow, so they were able to paint the football field.
They did get it cleared, and it is painted.
Okay.
I saw that.
Well, it's going to get covered now. And again, that's not the priority. The priority for this is the racing surface.
Yeah, 45 minutes ago, according to Bob Pockers and Jeff Gluck,
Okay.
there's already been about 3/4 of an inch of snow that has fallen in Winston-Salem already.
And it's not stopping anytime soon.
Expected to resume later this morning with 4 to 9 inches predicted.
So it keeps getting up. Kennedy talked on Tuesday as TV equipment from Fox Sports began to come in, was being set up. He said snow's been cleared from the track garage areas of Bowman Gray, hoping for warmer a day or two in Winston-Salem to accelerate cleanup. All of that stuff basically goes out the window. But there is something more important here, in fact, and this is where social media is really falling flat on their face. I was going to say another phrase, but we're in family time and I don't want to do it. Anything that you saw on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, whatever, Snapchat, doesn't matter. Pick a social media platform that said that NASCAR had thought about or had made the decision to delay and move the Clash to Daytona. False. 100% completely, absolutely, patently false. Make sure you're listening to reliable sources. As we have said many, many times, Matt and John can probably quote it in their sleep. This is the cornerstone of this show. I would rather be last on a story but get it right the first time than be first on a story and get it wrong and have to come to you and apologize.
Bingo, 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 bingo.
They may delay running the Clash because they can't get it going tomorrow night, but it's going to happen at Bowman Gray. Might happen Monday, might happen Tuesday. Don't know, but it's going to happen at Bowman Gray. They will get it in there. It's not moving to Daytona. It's not going to some other track. Drop it. And all those social media morons who are making up that stuff need to go hide in a hole. Let's see. Quick rundown of some of the noted racers who finished the Chili Bowl Nationals. Was won by Indiana-born racer Emerson Axum. That's a name for some reason that sounds familiar, and I can't place why. Have we talked about him before?
He's... I think we have.
Okay. For some reason, that sounds familiar, and I can't place why. Either way, his main competition, 2025 Cup Series champion Kyle Larson, claimed the 2025 Chili Bowl title. Larson started the A-main on the pole, but wrecked on lap 15. That ended his run for back-to-back Golden Driller trophies. Christopher Bell had a better night than Larson, ran top 5 for most of the race, ended up fading a bit at the end. He claimed a finish of 8th. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series driver Jesse Love won the B-main to advance to the A-main. He flipped on the final lap, prompted him to withdraw from the main competition. Ty Gibbs made it as far as the C-main. He got involved in a crash, got no further. J.J. Yaley got up in the B-main, could finish no better than 16th. That ended his night. Sheldon Creed could get no further than the E-main. Corey Day started the B-main in the top 10, finished 19th. He was done. New ARCA Menard Series driver Gavin Boschella barely made it to the A-main, but he did make it. Started 23rd, worked his way up to finish 14th. Good for him. Jake Johnson, Wayland Modified Tour winner, worked his way up to the M-main. That ended there. Ryan Roulette, ARCA Menard Series racer, former U.S. Air Force pilot, got up to the L-main. He claimed 10th there, but that wasn't good enough to advance, so there you go. All right, what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk NASCAR Hall of Fame. They inducted their latest class. We will go back over the credentials of the new inductees, all of them, not just the 3 drivers, but Landmark Award winner and Squire Hall Award winner as well. Plus, if you missed the news yesterday, 3 million files of the Epstein, 3 million documents in the Epstein files got released. Why are we mentioning that on a racing program?
Yeah.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network.
Wintertime in the South.
tires only. And back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the show. Steve West, Matt Nicholson here in studio. Producer John is keeping things rolling on CRN Live on YouTube. And it was just over a week ago. In fact, last Friday, a week ago. So yesterday, a week ago, however you want to put it. Now, latest NASCAR Hall of Fame class officially inducted. We don't need to tell you the bona fides of Harry Gant. We don't need to tell you the bona fides of Kurt Busch, the 2003 Cup Series champion. They were the ones on the modern ballot. Pioneer ballot inductee, the late Ray Hendrick. You may not know that name. Ray Hendrick made his bones in the Whelen Modified Tour in a career that spanned over 4 decades. Get this, claimed a 44.4% win percentage of all modified races he ever entered. Mm-hmm. That's a heck of a record when you get to right down to it. Official records say he claimed a top 5 finish in 4 of every 5 races he started.
Yep.
If that's not a Hall of Fame guy, your name apparently is Bill Belichick. Sorry, that's another story entirely. He's got more. Ray Hendrick has more than 700 wins to his credit, either in modified or late model sportsman divisions. Hendrick, of course, passed away, unfortunately, in 1990 due to cancer at the age of 61. His family was there in force, and they did a great job in honoring their relative in their speech. Also going in, talk about deserving landmark award winner H.A. Humpy Wheeler, virtuoso GM of Charlotte Motor Speedway, also a prolific promoter, one of, if not the best in NASCAR history, in fact. Wheeler passed away last year at the age of 86, sometime after finding out about his election to the NASCAR Hall of Fame, so at least he knew he was going in. Unfortunately, he did not survive long enough to be able to be there to be inducted officially. And also going in as the Squire Hall Award winner for media members, it's Deb Williams, familiar to both Matt and I due to her role with the National Motorsports Press Association. She's been reporting on NASCAR for decades. If you're old enough to remember the old United Press International UPI wire service, she worked there almost 20 years. She almost spent 20 years with Winston Cup Scene as well. 10 of those as its editor. More than deserving as well. Congratulations to everybody. This is something we did talk about. We mentioned it on Cross Flags, but it's worth mentioning again here because it hasn't been officially announced. And NASCAR's got a lot on their plate, let's face it. But The Athletic is claiming that NASCAR is set to announce sometime in the next, they say, few weeks, that they're going to drop the Roval in favor of returning to 2 races on the Tri-Oval at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now, again, Roval debuted to mixed reaction in 2018. Since then, the Cup and what is now the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series have run it each and every year. Craftsman Truck Series took to it for the first time just last year. We went there a few years ago. I got to admit, seeing it live gave me a different perspective on it, and I have made no bones about the fact that I really do like road racing, but I have been not necessarily the biggest proponent of this kind of road course racing. To me, it goes back to the argument that we had about, hey, why don't we go dirt racing by throwing a bunch of dirt at Bristol Motor Speedway?
Right.
You can't tell me that you couldn't have found a bona fide dedicated dirt track that you could have done that just as easy.
Right.
You can't tell me with all the road courses that are around the United States of America, or let's expand it out. Let's call it North America. Let's include Canada and Mexico in that as well, just for the giggles of it.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that you couldn't found a dedicated road course to be able to go to instead of building this on the inside of a perfectly viable tri-oval.
Mm-hmm.
But, that argument may be a moot point now. Some of the pluses and minuses should this bear out as it's claimed, and I don't have any reason to believe that it won't be. First, it does eliminate a road course of any form inside the chase. This is a minus to me, and I'll explain why, to determine the 2026 champion. Some people might call it a pro. In the end, I look at it as a negative. I look at it as a con, because NASCAR touts these drivers as the best in the world. And whether or not you agree with that, this is the top of the stock car world.
Sure.
It's the Cup Series.
Sure.
And if you're going to do road course racing throughout the course of a season, in order to determine a champion, whether it's playoffs or chase, whatever, and you're going to set aside a 10-race set of races, in that 10-race set, you should have an example of every kind of race course that you run throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, I agree. But here's the part where, with the state of how they're in right now, what they're having to pivot back to. And I said this in a generalized way on Cross Flags this week. This year is a pretty pivotal year for the series overall.
Oh, yeah. I agree wholeheartedly.
It's a very pivotal year. And the mindset that they should have right now is getting the product back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Agreed.
With this GT car that they've basically trying to run ovals with.
Yeah.
Okay. The one product that has improved drastically with this car versus the Gen 6 car has been the 1.5 mile races.
Oh, absolutely.
It's improved tenfold.
Oh, yeah.
But at the expense where short tracks, super speedways, and road courses absolutely obliterated the 1.5 miles with the Gen 6 car, roles reversed when the cars flipped.
Yep. That is the biggest pro to this, is that they are bringing back a track that is the strength of the car that they're running.
It's the strength of the car. They've got to get the product back.
Yeah. They got to put their best foot forward. I admit that. And that's why this is a great, again, I'm praying that this gets announced and is as official as the Athletic is claiming.
They get that product back, therefore you're getting attention back, whether it be through watching via broadcast or people walking through the gates and the turnstiles at the tracks. Mm-hmm. One of the two.
Yeah.
And I am very much in favor of this move for the simple fact of, one, it tells me that now, with how the delegation of responsibilities are between the upper offices of the sport, let's word it that way, now that Phelps is out of the picture. All right. With how those responsibilities are being delegated.
Yeah, by the way, today is his officially last day. Just to let you know.
Bye.
See ya.
It tells me they're listening. They're listening.
Finally. Yeah.
Finally, they're listening. Okay.
It's slow. You know, getting NASCAR to listen is like kind of getting the Titanic to turn.
They're listening. Okay. And this is the right move because, one, if you're listening to people that are chirping, you're going to get the garage back. Two, you're going to get the fan base back.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be in immediate drastic droves, but little bits are better than no bits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goes back to the conversation we had a couple of weeks ago when they announced they were getting rid of the playoffs. They were going to the chase. Everybody was happy they were getting rid of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Some people were not happy that they were keeping the chase. They wanted to go back to the very beginnings, so to speak, and use the entire season as a whole.
Right.
But this is compromise.
It's a fair compromise.
You're looking for a middle ground where you're not necessarily going to please everybody, but you're going to please a majority.
You still got that postseason element.
This does the same thing.
That rewards consistency still.
This does the same thing in the fact that NASCAR realizes, because you and I talked about it. You look at Charlotte Coca-Cola 600. That's fantastic racing. Kansas is considered must-see TV right now, to borrow the NBC phrase. Racing in Vegas, racing at Texas has gotten better. And this is after years of them trying to figure out whether it was the track or the car and messing with the formula of how that track was built.
Mm-hmm.
But Texas has gotten better. Charlotte's gotten better. They brought back Chicagoland. Mm-hmm. And Kentucky, anybody? All these 1.5 mile tracks that used to be boring are now exciting.
Yep.
And they recognized that, and they said, you know what? We've got this perfect 1.5 mile tri-oval sitting right in NASCAR's own, the team's own backyard.
Right.
And we're running a roval?
Yeah, you got to get the product back.
Yeah.
The reason I said it's pivotal because they've got to work on getting the product back to draw eyes back, to draw people back.
Yeah, because
That's what they got to do.
You can talk about it all day long, but if you can't walk the walk, talking the talk is not going to do you any good.
Exactly.
They got to put the product on the track. This is putting their best foot forward. Memorial Day, Coca-Cola 600, obviously, we know that. They'll be back at Charlotte if this holds out for the Tri-Oval race. October the 11th, that's the Sunday Cup Series chase race, number 6 for the Cup Series. Obviously, that changes because of what they did with O'Reilly and for the Truck Series.
I want to see something here. That there is a very, very, very large way that you fix this as well too. That you do nothing but add more and more value to it. Okay. October. Okay. All right. Races to schedule for October the 10th already. Mm-hmm. All right. October the 11th. Excuse me. Depending on what time it's scheduled. Let me use that term very, very, very loosely. Depending on what time it's scheduled. If they play it as a day game and they play it on NBC. Wait, hold on. Let me really.
It wasn't initially planned to be on NBC.
It's on USA.
Yeah.
Okay. Being on USA and you don't have any interference of Notre Dame, back this race up to Saturday night like it used to be in the old days.
Ooh, I like that thought.
Back it up to Saturday night and you do nothing but make the race 10 times better.
Yeah.
Saturday night, October, cool.
What's one of the main attractions? What's one of the things we love to talk about when it comes to the Coca-Cola 600? It's the fact that they're going from daylight into nighttime. And they're kind of chasing the car to make sure that they keep up with the changes that's going on with the track. Same thing in the going into this. Yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah,
we'll see whether or not they follow through on it.
I want to see. Let's see one thing right here too.
Okay, while you're doing that, let me say that
North Carolina plays out of town that weekend.
All right, so that's not a problem.
Nope, that's not a problem at all. So you go NC State. NC State is playing Wake Forest at home.
So
basically,
it's an in-state rivalry.
In-state rivalry at home.
What time?
The no time schedule
TBD
yet.
on that.
TBD on that. But they got no.
I doubt seriously if NASCAR said that they were going to run this race in the evening on Saturday night. I seriously doubt that they would go up against it.
I doubt it too. UNC Charlotte hadn't even conference ain't even set nothing yet. Period.
Gotcha. Okay. Duke would be the only other one.
Let's see. Yeah, who does Duke? Duke would be at Georgia Tech.
Okay, so they're away.
Only thing that would be interference. Yeah, I mean,
I don't see a
what do you got to lose?
No, I think it'd be a great move, and I think NBC, if they move it to Saturday night, NBC would be stupid to leave it on USA.
Oh yeah, I mean because Notre Dame's got Stanford that day, so the possibility of it being
work with Notre Dame, make sure they play that in the day, run the race at night,
play the 2:30 game,
and go straight from Notre Dame into NASCAR.
Yeah,
it'd be great. NASCAR's actually going to the Olympics, not to compete directly. Sorry, motorsports fans. But there's going to be a collaborative effort with USA Luge. The agreement benefits NASCAR by putting the logo on the weekly NBC Sports YouTube shows, branding at the Luge Fantasy Camp. Who knew there was one, but there is. And NASCAR branding of all athletic wear and Luge headquarters in Lake Placid, New York. What does it do for USA Luge? NASCAR is going to help out with technical and aerodynamic assistance for the Luge sleds and other equipment that the team uses. Amongst the things, that includes virtual optimization, whatever that is, wind tunnel testing, and a whole lot more. It's a long-term partnership that both sides insists. We'll see about that. And they're hoping that it's going to help the U.S. be more competitive in the Olympic sport, of which I know that we've never won gold. I'm not certain we've ever won a medal. in luge competition. I could be wrong. I don't know. Speaking of the Winter Olympics, Milan Cortina, Italy, things get underway this coming Friday. Luge begins with male singles 1 week from today. I think it's going to benefit things that quickly. Sorry. And then yesterday, big news dropped. Department of Justice announced that they were releasing 3 million documents of the Epstein files. And the reason why it was so delayed, there were a whole lot of people out there who were going, it's about time. Well, the reason they were doing it is because they were going through and redacting the names of the victims because they didn't want to throw them under the bus. Those who were suspects in that, they didn't care. They're going to put those names out. But the victims, they wanted to clear out. Turns out, there's actually a connection to the motorsports world. The NASCAR world, to be specific.
This was a kind of...
sobering? Eye-opening?
Eye-opening, for sure. For sure.
We're not going to get into the details of it, but I'll let Matt give you an overview of kind of how this all ties in.
It's pretty well known that Brian Vickers, there's name one, Brian Vickers' ex-wife was closely tied to Mr. Epstein and worked for him. And some documents that got released with email chats between all of the parties, and names surfaced in it with Michael Waltrip and Rob Kaufman. Yeah, it's kind of sobering because if you read the right one, there seems to be some pointed direction that there's a possibility that MWR was covering up some of Vickers' lifestyle to be able to pull some sponsorship. And it was communicated back and forth with Mr. Epstein. Yeah, it was kind of sobering, yet eye-opening.
And I'll state this right up front. I don't know yet, but at this point in time, I can almost guarantee you once that got seen in the hallways of Fox Sports, they got to thinking about their specific contract with Michael Waltrip.
Probably so. Probably so. And there's some copies of sponsorship checks that were cut and signed from marketing companies that were owned by Epstein to MWR.
Nothing's been said yet. We're just putting connections together based upon
I'm looking at
initial overview.
Looking at it, reading it, seeing images that were released. And somebody shared something from a DOJ search that if you put a certain name in there, you can see how many times it's in there. And Brian Vickers' name is apparently in there 112 times.
Ouch. Let's get into real racing news when we come back. Greg Biffle going to get many honors starting at Daytona.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
We're going to start doing some quick hitting here because we got a whole lot to get to across the series we cover, but it is very important to note that the late, great Greg Biffle going to be remembered very well at Daytona and throughout the season this year. Biffle's main Cup Series success came, of course, with what was then Roush Fenway Racing and the number 16, a stylized number that they're going to mimic on all the Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing Cup entries for the Daytona 500 at the very least. And if they did this all season long, I don't think anybody would complain. RFK Racing is going to put 4 cars out on the track for the season opener. Got the 6 for Brad Keselowski. You're about to see him on CRN Live on YouTube. 17 for Chris Buescher, 60 for Ryan Preece, and then there's that 4th car bringing back the 99 to Roush. And they're going to put driver Corey LaJoie in there. He's also the driver that's supposed to run tomorrow night. I say supposed to run because, again, Mother Nature may not be there, and he may not qualify for the race, even though he's going to be in the 6 car. Cowlick Racing, which has the famed number 16 car, running it for A.J. Allmendinger, they're going to join in and use that number style on A.J. Allmendinger's Daytona 500 ride. NASCAR is also set to honor Biffle with a painted design in the grass at Bowman Gray. May be covered up in snow. I would imagine they might do the same thing at Daytona.
This may be an unpopular opinion. Doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
I'll debate it with you. I don't care.
Okay.
RFK missed it. Colic hit a walk-off grand slam bottom of the ninth.
Okay. Explain.
The 6 font. They missed it with the 6, the 17, and 99.
So 60 they got right?
60 the 60 should have been his Busch Series font 60.
Okay. I see your point.
Should have been his 60 font for the Busch Series. The reason I said Colic hit the walk-off grand slam bottom of the ninth is simply because when you look really carefully in the 16 and the 1 is a ghost signature in the 1.
Oh, I have to look closer at that.
There's a ghost signature in the 1.
Very nicely done on their part.
And they got they got it with the Dayglow neon yellow looking color. I mean that well done, Colin.
Way to go.
Well done.
I would imagine you'll probably see a whole lot of stickers, like if you're on CRN Live on YouTube, very at the top up there, I think you'll see a lot of those 16 stickers, remembering Biffle as well.
Yep.
This probably should actually come as no surprise considering their long relationship and what we heard that came out during the lawsuit, Johnny Morris's letter that was made public during the recent NASCAR versus 2311 and Front Row case. Bass Pro Shops is re-signed with Richard Childress Racing and will be the primary sponsor of the 3-car for Austin Dillon, along with Winchester Ammunition. Again, this is really a no-brainer. Bass Pro has been with RCR and on the 3-car since 1998, back when it was Dale Earnhardt, and in other forms, while Austin Dillon, who Bass Pro has backed his entire NASCAR career, worked his way up into the Cup Series, and they brought the 3-car back. Bass Pro is somewhat selective in opening their locations, but again, they've got almost 200 locations in the U.S. and Canada in the 50 years that they've been in business. And if nothing else, Johnny Morris is a massive backer of NASCAR.
Huge.
Has been for a long time. This is not the only car that Bass Pro Shops will be sponsoring this year. 19 car of Chase Briscoe just in the Cup Series should be mentioned. So, yeah, this is huge. And congratulations to them.
Holy Kevin Harvick scheme.
Yeah, really. Talk about doing a throwback. Legacy Motor Club and Advent Health announced an extension of their partnership into 2026 for Eric Jones and the 43 Toyota. This year being the primary sponsor for 11 races, including the Clash and the Daytona 500. For the rest of the year, they'll be an associate sponsor on the 43, and also they're going to be an associate for the 2 planned races for Jimmy Johnson in the 84 car Daytona and San Diego. Robinhood, mainstream online investment firm that debuted at 2311 last year, is upping their partnership this year. They announced they're going to expand out more races as primary for Bubba Wallace on the 23, but they're also going to be a primary sponsor for that third 2311 racing car to be driven by 2025 Truck Series champion Corey Heim as he attempts to qualify for the Daytona 500. That car number going to be the 67. They're saying, by the way, that they're hoping to get him into somewhere around 10 to 12 races this year in that 67 car. No word on who all will be sponsoring throughout the course of the year, I would imagine Robin Hood will probably have a play in that as well.
Probably Robin Hood, Yahoo, JBL, Mobile One, some of the typical Toyota sponsors.
Yeah.
What it'll be. And then yeah.
I mean, I get it. He didn't have a ride, and we can't call him defending. We can call him sitting Truck Series champion. He's not defending it. Mm-hmm. He's not running full time in any series right now, which is just mind-boggling that a man who so dominated the Craftsman Truck Series last year doesn't have a full-time ride this year.
Well, I think it's for the simple fact of this right here. One, if it would have been me, considering that Sam Hunt's team is basically a de facto 2311 Xfinity team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's a transition that we're all trying to get used to.
Same thing, if you ask me.
Sure.
I would have personally put him in the 26. I know Harrison Burton's in the 24.
Yeah.
I get it. But I would have personally put him in the 26.
Mm-hmm.
Take Dean Thompson out. I don't care how big of a check Thompson Pipe Group brings. Dean Thompson out.
Who's the better driver?
Heim.
In the end, that should be it.
Heim, tenfold.
That should be the question. Who's the better driver?
But
I know it's not in this day and age, but it should be.
But I see what Toyota's doing, and I respect what Toyota's doing because Toyota is so top heavy right now.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
They're pumping the brakes on him just a little bit and going to run a hybrid, what they call their hybrid schedule. Cup races, truck races, maybe an Xfinity race or two.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping the rust knocked off,
mm-hmm.
keeping him fresh in the seat. So that way, when they're ready to implant him into a seat, they can put him in a seat. So, you ask me, the two cars that I would be squarely locked in on to where the seat insert is a little on the warm side. Riley Herbst,
mm-hmm.
John Hunter Nemechek.
And one other thing to keep in mind here, we saw a little, and I mean very little movement in the Cup Series this year,
mm-hmm.
going from the end of 2025 and early 26. The silly season news happened early, it happened quick, and all the seats got taken very fast.
Yep.
But there just wasn't a whole lot of it. The number of contracts that run out at the end of this coming year
mm-hmm.
dwarfs by a long shot what we saw at the end of 2025.
It's a lot. This
is the bridge year for Toyota. This is them saying, hey, give us 1 year, we'll have you a seat.
No, if Toyota messes around too long,
he will go. He'll find an open seat somewhere.
I will never say never. I mean, see what, excuse me, see what happened to Haley Deegan.
Sure.
At the time, this is a very large way to say this. At the time,
mm-hmm.
she was with Toyota. Toyota was high on her. Toyota was top heavy. Who reaches in and snatches her? Ford. Okay. All right. I'm going to back up to this one right here. There's another one. Taylor Reimer.
Mm.
Taylor Reimer dates Corey Heim. Taylor Reimer is a pretty stout open wheel driver in sprints, modifieds, midgets. Pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a wild guess who she's driving for this year. Chevrolet.
Mm. And it is interesting to note one of the contracts that runs out at the end of this year. It's Alex Bowman.
Kyle Busch too.
To be in one of the 4 Hendrick Motorsports seats.
Rick Hendrick has the checkbook to go get it.
Just noting. Some other quick-hitting sponsor news. Celsius set to sponsor Cowlick drivers A.J. Allmendinger in the Cup Series, Justin Haley in the Truck Series. Rebel Bourbon is back as a sponsor of Kyle Busch in the 8-card RCR. Noble Footwear is joining with Legacy Motor Club. They're going to be the official track shoe for the team. This is not the same as racing shoe, I'm presuming. Track shoe. Likely get some branding on the 42 and 43 cars. And notably, the Cal Ripken Senior Foundation, better known in baseball circles, venturing into motorsports to raise their profile. They're going to be featured on the 7 car of Daniel Suarez and Spire Motorsports at the Clash at Bowman Gray whenever we get it in.
Mm-hmm.
Fox Sports and NASCAR have come together for a new documentary about Dale Earnhardt, and you might be asking yourself, what the heck can this one do that all the others haven't? Well, this one actually really deals less with the life of the Intimidator than with his untimely death, February 18th, 2001, and the aftermath of it. Name of the documentary is, quote, We've Lost Dale Earnhardt, 25 years later. It's going to air on Fox Sports 1 Thursday, February the 12th, after the dual races that will set the final lineup for this year's Daytona 500. This particular documentary features first-person remembrances along with home video and broadcast footage of that fateful day, revisits the crash, Dale's ultimately passing, and how things in NASCAR changed after the fact. Among those interviewed, former NASCAR president Mike Helton, who used the exact words, "We've lost Dale Earnhardt." I remember that quote so very, very well. Mm-hmm. Full quote being, after the crash on the final lap of the Daytona 500, "We've lost Dale Earnhardt." I'll never forget those words. Watched him do it live.
When he caught his breath and said, "This is undoubtedly one of the toughest announcements I've ever had to make."
Yeah.
But after the accident at the end of turn 4, at the end of the Daytona 500,
we've lost Dale Earnhardt.
We've lost Dale Earnhardt.
Haunts me. I can't imagine having to do that announcement. It's like watching the old footage of Walter Cronkite announcing the death of JFK.
Go back and find the episode of Dirty Mo Media at Dale Jr. Download when Dale interviewed Mike Hilton, and Mike Hilton told that story, how that happened.
True, yeah.
Bill France Jr. didn't want to do it because they were so close.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
So Mike said, "I'll do it."
Yep. So Mike Helton's going to be interviewed, Rusty Wallace, Kyle Busch, a lot of media, including Patty Wheeler, who was big into the media at that time, Ryan McGee, who still does some stuff for ESPN.com, amongst all of the other things that he does, some NASCAR reporting as well. You also might remember us talking a few months ago about how Kyle and Samantha Busch sued Pacific Life Insurance Company over policies that they were claiming were sold to them under false and negligent representations. Couple seeking about $8.5 million in reparations for lost monies due to those policies. And the filing recently that happened to be in the same Western North Carolina court that heard the very NASCAR versus 2311 and Front Row Motorsports lawsuit that we just got done talking about. Pacific Life has filed a motion for dismissal. Claims the couple failed to fully fund the policies. In all, there were 5 policies that the Bushes bought starting in 2018 going through 2022, set to provide over $90 million in insurance protection. In addition, the policies are called indexed universal life policies. I don't know all the details, and I'm not going to try and ask even Matt, who does some insurance stuff himself. But they were supposed to provide not only death benefit protection, but as the filing stated, quote, the opportunity to accumulate cash values when the policies are held for the long term, quote unquote. Kyle Busch in the suit claims to be out almost $10.5 million, and in October filed the initial suit against the insurance company, alleges the company's representatives failed to divulge the actual risks involved in those policies. In the counterfiling by the insurance company, they state that both Kyle and Samantha signed several documents, said that they understood the risks involved, including the one stated that the couple would pay the planned premiums and hold the policies for at least 30 years through the age of 70 and or longer. Pac Life claims that in the counterfiling, quote, instead of keeping the policies long enough to capitalize on their growth potential, the plaintiffs failed to timely pay planned premiums, easy for me to say, failed to monitor allocation of their policy values between indexed and fixed accounts, and surrendered the policies or allowed them to lapse. Rather than accept responsibility for their own decisions, plaintiffs now attempt to blame their negative outcome on the IUL product. Well, here's the thing. If you feel like you've been wronged, you're going to stop paying for it. I mean, that's plain and simple. I get that. I don't know. We'll see how this all goes out. I'm trying to get into lawsuits. Just be above and beyond my head, and I'll be real honest with you. I'm kind of tired of talking about lawsuits. Hopefully this gets settled soon.
Yep.
When we come back, we get into hour number 2. AM racing was supposed to be no longer. Scratch that. We'll tell you all about that when we come back. Plus, we got a whole lot of other announcements, and the fact that we got Moonlighters coming to Daytona. Well, and truth be told, throughout the remainder of the season. We'll try and help you fill in the scorecard so that you can keep track of it all. next.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back. Four tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
So we kick off with news that broke just yesterday. Late last year, it was announced that AM Racing was set to sell their operation to Sigma Performance Services. You might remember us talking about it at that time. This was Sigma's expansion out from their ARCA Menard Series program. They also run a late model program, I think, in the car store, up into the upper levels of NASCAR. As of just yesterday, as we air live, final day of January, that deal off. AM Racing released a statement that said, quote, in November of 2025, an acquisition of AM Racing was announced. While the transaction ultimately was not finalized, AM Racing will now move forward independently, remain committed to competition in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, driver and team announcements forthcoming. Better get on it, boys. Sigma Performance Services released their own statement, said, quote, recent announcements were made regarding the termination of the SPS planned NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series program participation. While SPS's participation in the program was halted effective January 28th, 2026, SPS will continue to support the smooth and effective transition of this competition program in full cooperation with AM Racing. This leads me to believe that there's still an open door for them to possibly buy that particular organization. They just couldn't finalize all the details before we got this season started.
Yep, that's what it is.
Okay. We'll see what happens. We'll keep you updated. As AM Racing turns. Ross Chastain, who was already set to be a busy man this coming season with his full-time ride in the Trackhouse Racing #1, previously announced moonlighting that he was going to be doing for Nice Motorsports. He's going to run the max allowed 8 races this coming season in the Truck Series. Now, He's going to get at least 4 more races. These in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Chastain joining with Jordan Anderson Racing is going to be part of that rotation of drivers that's going to jump into the number 32 Chevrolet. He's set to drive at the Atlanta race, followed by Coda, Watkins Glen, and Sonoma. Rajah Caruth is going to get 10 races in the 32 car as well. More drivers, probably including Jordan Anderson, to be announced soon. Who would have thought the 32 car would have been the star car, Jordan Anderson?
Not surprised.
I didn't have that on my bingo card for this year, truth.
Me either.
Speaking of Hendrick Motorsports, they've announced that all 4 of their Cup drivers are going to get some time moonlighting in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series as well. Yeah. Really what they're doing is you've got the 17 car full-time, plus they're going to get some time in the 88 car for Junior Motorsports, which, let's face it, they're attached at the hip. Junior Motorsports needed to fill out their star car, the 88, so Kyle Larson, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, all going to take time, step up and pilot the ride. Byron's up first. He's going to ride at Phoenix March 7th, get back in the car at Kansas in April, Pocono in June. Larson's going to get 3 races in the 88, spring Vegas, Bristol, and Texas. Bowman will get 2 races, spring Darlington and Nashville. Elliott takes 2 turns, Chicagoland and Indy. All of those races will feature sponsorship from HendrickCars.com. The rest of the schedule, it's funny how that works out to be 10 races. Rajah Caruth will be in the 17 car.
88.
88 car.
Yep.
As far as, by the way, the 17 car is a full-time ride this year as well. Let's go ahead and mention that. That 17 car is going to be a full-time car this year with a rotation of drivers.
Oh, Corey Day had the whole year.
I've heard. Here's the problem with this is the fact that we keep getting so many different dang people saying this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to.
So maybe we can figure this out right here, right now, and settle this.
That's what I'm looking at now.
And I hope that you're right. I hope it's just Corey Day, because that's the way that it's shown right there if you're looking at CRN Live on YouTube. Gosh, I hope you're right.
Let's see.
Well, he's looking that up. Couple of one-off rides. David Starr is signed on with Joey Gase Motorsports to run the 53 car at Daytona. Luke Fenhouse, who's running both the ARCA and the Craftsman Truck Series, will get his O'Reilly Auto Parts Series debut with Hettinger Racing, and they also are making their debut in the Cup Series. They're going to run a Ford Mustang with a number 5 on the side. Probably not a bad move on their car side, considering the fact that so many teams vacated Ford. They're going to get a pretty good amount of support from Ford on that. The car, by the way, also guaranteed to start because Hettinger Racing acquired the points that Cope Family Racing had on the 20 car last year. So they're guaranteed to start at Daytona.
It was confirmed in November. Corey Day is full-time Xfinity this year.
Thank you. Okay. Good grief. Tired of playing Monopoly or whatever.
Yeah, that's whoever's going to
How
be
about musical chairs?
in the HendrickCars.com mobile this week.
All right. Also, that planned preseason test at Rockingham Speedway got pushed back to early February due to last weekend's weather that hit all the Southeast, well, except for Alabama. Things continue to look up for the now IHRA-owned facility. The test is set to take place this coming week, 3rd and 4th specifically, assuming they can get the track cleaned off. All teams that are in the O'Reilly Auto Parts and Craftsman Truck Series can participate if they are prepared. Over at Worldwide Tech Raceway at Gateway, their upcoming O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, the second race in the series chase set, is going to get more laps. The new race length expands out to 225 miles or 180 laps. It's going to be called the New Way 225, sauced by Blues Hog. Last year it was 200 miles. So an extra 25 miles. Does that make that much of a difference?
Not really, if you ask me.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's great that they get more laps and more wheel time, but I don't know whether this ramps up the drama or not.
I'm going to do something we've never done right here before.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I'm going to make a live announcement to producer John.
Oh, okay.
Keep an eye on your email. I'm about to send you an image I just found that you can throw up. That was a current image of a traffic cam that has a visual on the Bowman Gray. Oh. Outstanding call. Calling everything off today.
Yeah. Everything's pushed back to tomorrow. only Cup Series activity. All the late model and modified and everything else that was supposed to go on is kind of a lead up or the undercard, if you will, to what the Cup Series was going to do tomorrow evening. All that's been delayed to a date to be named later. Everything that's supposed to happen on the track tomorrow, if it gets out onto the track, will be Cup Series related, starting on Fox Sports 2 and then supposed to work its way to Fox.
It just has got sent to your email.
Okay. So John's looking that up. In the meanwhile, we'll do some of these other bits of news. And if he doesn't get the pictures up, we fully understand. Travis Pastrana's back in NASCAR for at least one race. He's going to join Nice Motorsports, drive their number 42 Chevrolet Silverado in the season opener at Daytona. He's an 11-time X Games gold medal winner who has also represented the U.S. in the annual Race of Champions international competition. Race is set to be sponsored by Brunt Workwear. This marks, by the way, his first race in the Truck Series since way back in 2023. He raced the season opener for both the Craftsman Truck Series race that year and the Daytona 500. He also raced full-time in what's now the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series back in 2013 with what's now RFK Racing. And I like Travis Pastrana. I think he's a good guy. I don't have a problem with him in the car, but I don't know whether this brings a whole lot more than just a paycheck for one race for Nice Motorsports or a fill-in.
Zero.
You know, he's a seat filler is what he is.
That's all he is.
You know, it's great that he's got the name that he can come there with. Fantastic. Bring the Brunt Workwear sponsorship money along with you, but again, I don't know what else you're doing.
Yep.
One of producer John's favorite looks, Tony Bridinger. Meanwhile, switching make allegiances. She's moving away from Toyota, sliding into a Chevrolet on a part-time basis. She's joined up with Rackley War Racing, set to drive their number 27 in 8 races this coming year. Begins at Daytona, gains support from sponsors such as Raising Cane's.
Shoot. And again.
Excuse me. Suddenly sneezing came upon me, and I apologize. Support from Raising Cane's, Celsius, and Sunoco. I've never been to a Raising Cane's.
You about to have one in Birmingham?
Yeah, finally. They've announced one on Highway 280, not too far from where I live.
I've been multiple times.
I've driven by that location. It looks like it's prepared, but apparently they're in training right now. They're supposed to open in March.
It's
I've heard good things.
I've ate at one in Little Rock, and I've ate at one in Memphis, and I've ate at one that is inside of the SJB Pavilion at Ole Miss.
Okay.
And it's pretty good.
I've heard that it's good. I've just never had it. But Celsius and Sunoco are going to be in there, part of it. This is going to be interesting here. This is going to be, I mean, you're going from Tricon Garage, which is a top-level team, to Rackley War, which hasn't, unfortunately for them, just to be really, really blunt with them, they haven't torn up anything. They haven't really been a top running team. Rivals Guthrie's. Yeah, thank you, John. I appreciate it. Have you been? That's the question. And what do you think of it?
It absolutely beats Guthrie's.
Okay. John agrees. What does this move do for Tony Bridinger? Other than get her out from the glut of people that are at Toyota, because we've established the fact that they're top heavy and there's just no place to move up. So this gets her out from under that, there's no doubt. What else does this do for her?
It gets her out of it, yes, but based off of, let me say this carefully, unless Willie Allen and Curtis Sutton have amplified their program up and increased things, this is a lateral or a backwards lateral move.
That's what I was afraid of.
It's backwards or backwards lateral.
Because again, the one bonus that we can tell is the fact that she's out from under the top heavy Toyota run. Mm-hmm. That's the one bonus for her. Otherwise, we're not sure what the bonus is.
I don't know.
I mean, last year in the one truck, she raced the entire season, finished 23rd in the final standings. After a run in the Arca Menard Series, where in 65 races, she had 27 top 10s. She expanded her brand outside of NASCAR. She was the very first NASCAR driver to appear in the annual Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, which made her a favorite of producer John. And according to Sports Business Journal, leads all NASCAR drivers in social media value. That's not a shock. She's all over it. Following Daytona, she'll get into the 27 truck at Texas, then Dover, then Nashville in May, North Wilkesboro and Lucas Oil Raceway Park in July, New Hampshire in August. She'll be with us at Talladega in October. And she'll be kind of splitting up, she'll be alongside Dawson Sutton, who's the full-time Rackley War driver in the number 26 entry. Why am I not surprised John still has that picture? I should have seen that coming. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's her Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue contribution. All right. Going back.
Let's see Bowman Gray, why don't we?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Going back to the picture that John just sent to producer John that he worked very quickly on. This is, as you can tell at the top if you're on CRN Live, this is a traffic cam from MLK Drive southbound at Bowman Gray Stadium. That is 110% snow covered.
That came through and was taken a little after 8:30 a.m. Eastern.
As we say in the NASCAR world, ladies and gentlemen, we've lost the track.
And then some.
We don't even know exactly where the track is. It's covered.
Yeah, and I don't see being able, even if it was to stop within the next hour, I don't see any way whatsoever you would be able to successfully clean that track, get it treated, and get all the ice and snow off of it without it refreezing.
See, that's the trick.
You wouldn't.
Without it refreezing, that's the trick.
You wouldn't be able
because, I mean, Air Titans do a great job. But in a way, there's almost a part of me that wants to say the jet dryers would become a lot more handy than the Air Titans in this case, because at least they would warm the track and help melt ice and snow. In addition evaporating the wet.
What you would have to do, you would have to do it wouldn't be the traditional jet dryer. You'd have to use the Buffalo turbine that has the trailer behind it, where it goes straight down, and probably 1, 2, 3, I'm going to say 5 laps. You could have it blown off, but you would have to have the Air Titan immediately behind it, blowing residual moisture off.
Right.
Because if you don't blow that residual moisture off, that would immediately refreeze and you're back at square one.
I'll be very interested to see how the track prep goes when it comes to this.
For sure.
A couple of more announcements came down this week for the season opening Craftsman Truck Series race. Henderson Motorsports announced they're going to break out the number 75 truck. I'm happy to see that they're still doing that despite the fact that Mr. Henderson passed away not that long ago. Corey LaJoy going to be behind the wheel of that, adding to his early season time behind the wheel. We mentioned it. He's going to fill in for Brad Keselowski at the Clash, try to get the number 99 Ford Mustang RFK racing into the Daytona 500. This is one of 8 open cars, by the way, trying to make one of 4 open slots. Numbers don't work. We'll see. John Hunter Nemechek, meantime, also going to pull double duty, not only racing for Legacy Motor Club, his full-time Cup Series ride, but he's going to moonlight by driving for Hallmar Friesen Racing. He's going to get into their number 62 truck. The team also announced they're choosing to swap the owner points from the 52 to the 62 in order to lock Nemechek into the race, guaranteeing his start. But wait, there's more. Cup Series Moonlighter been announced for the Truck Series Inspire Motorsports as they are pulling Carson Hocevar in to the number 77 Chevy Silverado, sponsorship coming from IKEA and Best Buy. There's Greg Van Alst, who has announced his 2025 part-time effort with his own Truck Series team going to be repeated in 2026. Says he'll break out his own team's number 35 Toyota Tundra TRD for Daytona. He'll announce the rest of the 2026 season to be announced later. Last year, in addition to Daytona, he raced Indianapolis, Fall Bristol, Fall Talladega, and the season finale in Phoenix.
Tony Stewart and Carson Hocevar in the race. Sign me up.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that. I'm looking forward to that big time. It's going to be fun. I don't know who I'm going to hike Fox Sports off of, but I got to. We'll talk. Outboard motor manufacturer Tohatsu back in 2026 as an anchor sponsor for Spencer Boyd in the 76 truck. Part of that deal celebrating the company's 70th year, providing outboard motors for boaters around the world. In addition, Spencer Boyd has noted that he's not going to be full-time in that 76 truck this year. He's actually pulled in a road course ace for the first 3 road course races of the year. To the best of our knowledge, he's no relation to Matt. It is Nathan Nicholson. Nathan's a 19-year-old, hails out of Bloomington, Indiana, started racing at the age of 4, claims multiple national karting championships, the 2022 NASA Spec Miata title, 2023 Spec MX-5 title, is one of the Mazda MX-5 Cup scholarship drivers, plenty of race wins behind him in his time behind the wheel. His effort at St. Petersburg for the trucks, remember, they're running St. Petersburg in cooperation with Indycar. Watkins Glen and Naval Base Coronado all going to be sponsored by Whelen. longtime sponsor within NASCAR and, of course, sponsor of the Wayland Modified Tour. You can get a look at the kid right there. 19 years old, road course ace. There was a time when we would look at that and go, yeah, after Connor Zilic, we can't go, anymore.
I remember him at Barber last year.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does in this truck because based upon what we have seen him in before, this is going to be different. This is a very different style of racing, but road course is road course, and if you know how to run at a road course,
we'll figure it out.
Adapt yourself to the truck, and you're rolling.
We'll figure it out.
Let's finish up here with Truck Series news here real quick, shall we? And then we'll talk about some other stuff. 2009 F1 champion Jenson Button, who has dabbled a bit in NASCAR, even joined the NASCAR Garage 56 effort at the 24 Hours Le Mans a couple of years ago, last year stated he was going to retire from full-time racing. Full-time racing. But ask any racer about retirement, most will say it's not that easy just to walk away. He got to talking recently with Marty Snyder and Steve Letarte. They were at the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona. They had 6 hours of boring, foggy, 60-mile-per-hour racing, quote-unquote, to talk about. Snyder asked Button if he was really done racing. Button, who now lives in the L.A. area, said, well, you just talked about NASCAR going to San Diego, my local race now. Has anyone got a truck that they want me to drive? Said it with a little bit of a sly grin on his face, and it prompted Snyder and Letarte to begin to laugh, and he then added, quote, if it's got a wheel and a gear stick, I'm there. So, yeah, I'd love to do a truck race if it's possible. Cowley Graham might have a truck.
Pretty sure.
Just saying.
Yeah.
And speaking of comebacks, welcome back to NASCAR, one Hailie Deegan. Deegan had worked her way up from the Arca Menard Series through the Craftsman Truck Series and what is now the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series before last year moving to drive in Indy next after losing her ride at AM Racing. Not really her fault. AM Racing might not have had the best of equipment, as we found out through all the other drivers that took it over. She's back in the Arca Menard Series. She joined with Bill McAnally Racing to drive the number 16 Chevrolet. It's a homecoming for her. She brings sponsorship from Napa and Monster Energy Drink. She has 3 ARCA wins from 2018 to 2019, claimed 5th and 3rd in the final standings those 2 years, and another 3rd in 2020 before she moved up in the truck. She proved to be very, very popular as well. Her years in the truck series, she was the most popular driver, even though she didn't really accomplish a whole lot on the track. Mm-hmm. Welcome back, Hailie. You're back in the area where you were most comfortable. I think that's probably the best place to put it. This is probably the best place for her to be. Let's reestablish ourselves and see whether or not you're worthy of moving back up into the truck series, and then we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right, when we come back, we'll switch, talk about Formula One. They finally hit the track at Barcelona. Official times not allowed. So media's kind of going, stopwatch, we think we got it. We'll talk about that. Cadillac, man. You want to talk about just burning it up in their first year and they haven't even hit the track yet? Talk about their latest publicity.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network. Out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the show here as time is quickly getting away from us. Let's see how much more we can get in. F1 cars hitting the track for the first time in 2026. Got an early test session in at Circuit Catalunya at Barcelona, Spain. Almost all the teams showed up. Aston Martin didn't initially. The test in Spain, 5-day private test. No official timing has been revealed. Aston Martin wasn't there at the beginning. They chose to utilize the rules that state the teams only have to participate in 3 of the 5 days. You can choose to participate in all 5, but you only have to participate in 3 of them. They delayed their arrival and participation. They are on the track. They weren't the only one. Williams alerted both Formula One and the FIA officials of problems getting their 2026 cars ready. They aren't going to be at Barcelona at all. Ouch. Why the delay for Aston Martin? The team said, quote, the AMR 26 will be in Barcelona later this week for a shakedown. It's our intention to run Thursday and Friday. For Williams, there's obvious concern. They stated the car's just flat out not prepared. As for Aston Martin, they've bet big on Formula One. They opened up a brand new facility in Silverstone, England, signed early on with Honda as their engine supplier, landed former Red Bull executive Adrian Newey to lead the entire F1 operation. So things seem to be out the upswing until this. But there is good news in that this is not the only test. In fact, there are 2 upcoming preseason tests, of which official timing will be released to media. Both of these going to happen in Bahrain in the next couple of weeks. This gives the team more time and less privacy to get prepared for the season opener, Australia Grand Prix, coming up on March the 8th.
Apparently, some things that I've seen, apparently the Williams car did not pass the crash test.
That is a problem.
Why they didn't test.
That is a problem. As for the first day of testing, again, media not allowed. Official timing wasn't revealed. ESPN reported that their sources said Red Bull's Isaac Hajar was quickest. Mercedes of George Russell second quick, just over half a second slower. But most feel for that Mercedes was kind of sandbagging, and based upon what I've seen from unofficial timing the rest of the week, that seems to be backed up. It looks like Mercedes is back on top of their game. Isaac Hajar, on the other hand, on day 2 of testing, wrecked the Red Bull car. Oops. Let's see what else we got here. Anything from our newest team, Cadillac? Well, Valtteri Bottas got to talking about his return to the track as pretty much as more than the car. He talked about it after day 1, said, quote, it's great to be back. Also with this brand new team in the sport, it's really, really unique situation. I really enjoyed getting back on track. This was the first time I've driven this car, so it's just good to be out there. You can see the car in its camouflaged look right now on CRN Live on YouTube. Obviously, performance-wise, I wouldn't say much yet. The main thing is we've got some running done. At the end, we got in a little bit longer run in, so these are the first steps of debugging and getting everything to work better. It's cold, early morning, quite hard to get the tires to work here, as we know. As the temperature picked up, things got better. We had some issues throughout the day. Like I said, we're debugging. That's why we're here. It seems like every team had some issues. It's just now really figuring those out, getting more and more running each day. But like I said, it's just great to be here in the car. Debugging, I would imagine, is a huge thing, considering the only thing proven on this car is the powertrain, which you get from Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is Cadillac from scratch, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting they used the term debugging, though. It sounds like a computer thing.
Yeah.
Of course, these things are loaded with a whole lot of computers.
Yeah.
And then, while that debugging goes on, who's ever in charge of promotions and social media for Cadillac is just on it.
Sign them up. Give them a raise.
I mean, these guys are the ultimate pros. Cadillac continues to do a big build-up to the inaugural F1 car reveal. They've been running, as we just showed you, kind of a camouflage look in the preseason test session at Barcelona, said that they're looking less at overall performance and just trying to fix the little niggling things that are going on with it. Next week is the Super Bowl, and we've told you here on this show that the Super Bowl ad, which, by the way, I found out is going to cost Cadillac somewhere in the area of $10 million for 30 seconds, will be the official F1 car reveal on the possibly biggest stage you could possibly do in the world. Because not only do, 125, 130 million people in the United States watch it, 1 billion people, give or take, around the world do. So it's a huge stage.
Pretty big stage.
As to how it's going to look in its race form, Cadillac is actually taking this a step further. And they're going to put a tease in the most populous city in the United States of America, New York City. Yeah, New York City. The display is a chrome-clad structure, frosted glass. It's going to be put into Times Square Friday afternoon. And until the apparently live now Super Bowl ad, the glass will not let the passersby see the car. However, it will show off the Cadillac F1 logo, the partners' logos, and a clock countdown to the official reveal that will appear on the frosted glass until the ad. And then on TV during the Super Bowl, the frosted glass grows clear, reveals a replica car. In other words, not powered. It's just a shell. But that's how the cars, when they hit the track in Australia, well, in Bahrain for the test session, are going to look. The box with the replica car will remain in Times Square through Monday as well, to allow those who had seen the box but maybe missed the Super Bowl ad or just want a closer look to be able to see it in person. Again, this is... Think what you want to think about Cadillac in their first year in F1, but this is brilliant marketing. Flat out brilliant marketing.
Yep.
I could quote you what Dan Towers, the CEO of Cadillac F1 Team Holdings, is going to say, but it's just not going to worry about it. Audi, on the other hand, the other new team this coming year, but they have the former Sauber operation, so they got a little bit of a leg up. They've had much the same say in their first day of testing at full speed or close to it anyway. Driver Gabriel Bortoletto talked about his first day, said it was a bit of a short day, doing a pretty decent job in the morning, put some laps on the board, testing some things, going in the right direction. But really, it's a shakedown. Everything can happen, and we expect to find issues here and there. So both Audi and Cadillac are debugging, is effectively what I'm hearing.
Yes.
And Williams is trying to figure out how to get their car to pass crash test standards. God.
Yeah.
And then after a very down season where Alpine held down the cellar of the F1 Constructors' Cup standings nicely, Alpine's looking to change their fortunes by first becoming a customer team instead of a works program. In other words, building not only their own cars, but their own engines. Parent company Renault shut down the F1 operation at the end of the 2025 season. Alpine is now a customer of Mercedes, which may not be the worst thing considering how Mercedes come out firing on all cylinders, to borrow a phrase. In addition, there's a group interested in investing in the team, and it's led by Christian Horner, the former team boss at Red Bull, who was fired midway through the 2025 season. Now, here's the thing. Renault doesn't own 100% of the Alpine F1 team. Alpine officials, or Renault officials, maybe even more to the point, sold a 24% stake of the team in 2023 to a company called Otro Capital, O-T-R-O, Otro Capital, some 200 million euros, about $236 million US, exchanged hands for that. Last year, however, Otro, noticing that they were backing a cellar dweller, said that maybe we'd be interested in selling that stake. Renault is thought to have the right of first refusal to buy that 24% stake back, but Horner has reportedly compiled a group of investors that hopes to fill that role and take over that 24%. Not much is known about the groups he has assembled, but Horner himself, who's been largely out of sight since being let go from Red Bull, that buyout of his contract from Red Bull is said to be substantial enough to where he might not even need this consortium. He might be able to stroke that check himself. But again, reportedly, he's got a consortium of people that are willing to come along for the ride.
It'd be time to move to Milton Keynes and get a job over there.
I mean, again, this is a small investment. But if you're Christian Horner, with the career that you've had, and you're a part owner of a team, I don't care how much you own of it or not, you're a part owner of the team, are you really going to be a silent partner?
No. No.
And if you're Alpine, and you have Christian Horner as part owner of your team, do you want him to be a silent partner?
No, you want him to be loud. You want him to be.
This is a guy who built Red Bull from effectively nothing into a four-time champion, four-time Constructors' Cup title winner under Sebastian Vettel. Yeah, they had the time with Lewis Hamilton, who dominated things for a long time. And then all of a sudden, here comes Max Verstappen, and they're back on top again. Christian Horner is the guy who led that.
So it's 54 miles from Heathrow to Milton Keynes. So I'm just mapping my time out here.
There you go. Let's talk about the NHRA and the IHRA. We're going to have to split this up with a commercial break. So let's first talk about the top 75 drivers list. They added 5 more names to it. We hinted to this at Crossed Flags in the podcast earlier this week. Those going in, Sean Langdon, who is a 2-time Super Comp titleist who advanced to Top Fuel, claimed the 2023 championship there before dropping down, quote unquote, to Funny Car. Collected 30 national event wins across both Top Fuel and Funny Car, which, by the way, marks him as one of only 19 who has wins in both divisions in the history of the NHRA. I don't have a problem with Sean Langdon going in. Gary Skelsey is next. He's a 43-time national event winner, also one of those 19 drivers I just mentioned, also one of only 3 drivers claiming a division title in both Top Fuel and Funny Car. Ooh, talk about an elite group. Troy Coughlin's a 5-time Pro Stock Car champion. He's the first driver to claim national event wins in 7 different divisions, racked up 88 wins in his career to date, including 4 U.S. Nationals. Then there's Angelle Sampey. She's up next. She broke barriers for women in the Mission Foods Drag Racing Series, paving the way for more women to follow. She's also backed it up on the track. 47 wins so far in her career. 3 Pro Stock Motorcycle Division titles to her credit. She's shifting up to Top Fuel this year. So congratulations to her on that. And then there's Jeff Taylor. Taylor enjoyed one of the longest careers of any sportsman division driver, claimed over 50 national event wins and 4 titles. Those 4 titles came in 3 different divisions: stock, super stock, and comp eliminator. I mean, you're talking about drivers who are good across divisions. It is hard to argue that. When we come back from top 75 drivers to top 75 moments, and this is a list that is literally 100% top 75 moments from 75 to 1. They released 20 of them. We're going to go over those in fairly quick order when we come back, as we're talking NHRA. We got some IHRA news to talk about. IndyCar, IROC, Formula E, 20 minutes.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network.
Talladega Short Track.
only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Last stage, if you will, of our particular race to the checkered flag here on CRN. We're talking about the top 75 moments from the history of the NHRA from 55 to 36. Start at 55, Angel Sampey, following Shirley Muldowney to become the NHRA's second female champion, doing that in 2000. 54, Tony Schumacher's record-setting 15-win season in Top Fuel in 2008, claimed not only 15 wins out of 24 events, made the finals in 18 of the 24 en route to his fifth title in Top Fuel, probably walking away with it at that point. 1988, the 5-second barrier got broken. Gene Snow got into his Top Fuel ride October the 6th of the very first NHRA Super Nationals in Houston, Texas, pulled a 4.936 ET, the first official sub 5-second entry in Top Fuel history, NHRA history, I should say. Then you got Don the Snake Prudhomme, best known for breaking speed barriers. Only 3 months after pulling the first 250-mile-per-hour funny car pass in 1982, ran a then fastest division time of 5.637 seconds. That was more than 0.2 quicker than his previous record that he also set. Big Daddy Don Garlits was actually thought to be past his prime when he returned to Top Fuel Racing in 1982, then surprised everybody when his old Swamp Rat entry and a volunteer crew claimed an event win at the U.S. Nationals. I say old Swamp Rat, he was about 2 years old at that point in time, ancient in NHRA terms. That, however, resurrected his career. He went on to claim 2 more titles in 85 and 86. Speaking of Garlits, he was suffering through a slump in the mid-60s. In 1967, he even failed to qualify for big events like the Winter Nationals and Spring Nationals. And even he had yet to run in the 6-second bracket, which several of his Top Fuel competitors had already done by that point in time. But then at the NHRA Nationals that year on a borrowed set of tires from a guy by the name of James Warren, he pulled a 6.77 ET and beat the driver that he borrowed the tires from, leading him to pay off a bet where he said if he'd won, he would shave his beard at the finish line, and he did it live as he was interviewed, and it was on camera. It's like ZZ Top shaving their beard, isn't it?
Yeah.
1976, while a major division in the NHRA, the funny car division, at that point in time only ran 8 national events. Didn't stop Don Prudhomme. He won 7 of the 8 events on his way to claiming a very easy title, his second of 4 straight. Funny Car's long been catching up to Top Fuel in both the laps time and top speed runs, and it led to a famed exhibition in 1999 between John Force in a Superman-themed funny car, how appropriate, versus Bob Vandergriff in his Top Fueler. Force edged Vandergriff by a slim but notable margin of 0.011 seconds, 11 100ths of a second. Mm-hmm. But the funny car won. Mm-hmm. Top Fuel rides have been rear-engine rides for a few years when Jim Dunn decided to try it in a funny car. Brought a rear-engine Plymouth Barracuda to the 1972 Super Nationals, claimed the win. First ever for a rear-engine funny car. Didn't catch on, however. It's the only win for a rear-engine funny car. Funny cars are front-engine to this day. Number 46, Greg Anderson claiming his 1,000th round win just last year, becomes only the second driver in NHRA history after the legend John Force to claim that milestone. Again, we talked about it at the time, prompted the NHRA to create a club, the 1,000 round win club. Again, it only features Force and Anderson, but there are some other drivers that are closing in. Those moments released early in the week and midweek. NHRA went from 45 to 36. In at 45, Ron Capps finally claiming his first funny car title in 2016. He had been the winningest driver in the division's history without a title up to that point, finally broke through. 1982, Shirley Muldowney claiming a major Top Fuel win when she bested her former crew chief turned rival Connie Kalitta at the U.S. Nationals. That was her first win at the NHRA's Crown Jewel event. Go think about that for a minute. The very first NHRA Nationals comes in at 43. They held their first ever U.S. Nationals at Great Bend, Kansas, set the blueprint for what the modern drag race would be. Then there's Gary Skelsey. He was asked to take over the Top Fuel ride of Blaine Johnson, who had died during a qualifying crash the previous year, 1996. Skelsey was a rookie in 1997, not only held his own, went on to claim 6 wins with the help of his crew chief, Alan Johnson, Blaine's brother, who was able to put that behind him and do that. And now we know why Gary Skelsey is one of the top 75 drivers as well. That's just part of it.
Yep.
Big Daddy Don Garlits, always something of a pioneer in the NHRA, introduced Swamp Rat 30 in 1986. This featured first, there was an arrow nose. This bodywork actually covered the front wheels and maybe one of the first cockpit canopies, if not the first. That ride broke through the 270-mile-per-hour barrier, the first time that speed mark had been eclipsed in NHRA Top Fuel history. He would claim the 1985 Top Fuel title. That ride got shown in the Smithsonian the next year. I do find it interesting that arrow nose didn't catch on.
Yeah, that was kind of puzzling that it didn't.
Yeah.
Figured more would have done that.
NHRA has long broken ground for women and minorities. First champion of color, Antron Brown, claiming the Top Fuel title in 2012. Most longtime race fans remember when the Winston cigarette brand was the title sponsor of the Cup Series. They did something pretty similar 3 years later, joining up with the NHRA in 75, became the title sponsor of that Top Series, and it has gone through different names since. Now it is the Mission Foods Drag Racing Series. How many starts is too many before you claim your first win?
462.
The aforementioned Michael Waltrip. As for the NHRA, Clay Milliken said, you know what? Even after 254 event starts without a national event win, I ain't giving up. And finally, in event number 255, which was the 2017 Thunder Valley Nationals, he beat Leah Pritchett, now Leah Pruitt, married to Tony Stewart, on Father's Day. That was notable after the recent passing of his own son. So congratulations to Clay Milliken, who is now, by the way, also one of the top 75 drivers of all time. Pro Stock car has never been as fast as either Top Fuel or Funny Car, but speed barriers are still being broken in that division. And when in 1994, Kurt Johnson got under the 7-second mark in his Oldsmobile, remember that brand, kids? Ask your parents. Pulled a 6.988 ET at the Mopar Nationals in Englishtown, New Jersey in 1994. And then moment number 36, the final entry, and this one is the unfortunate one. The accident that ended the driving career of all-time Hall of Famer John Force. 2024 crash after winning the first round of the NHRA Nationals in Virginia was so severe that Force suffered a broken pelvis and a dual fracture to one leg, but more importantly, a traumatic brain injury. He did go back to the track later that year, not to drive, but to root on as John Force Racing rides. There was some hope he might be able to get back behind the wheel and at least be able to retire that way, but unfortunately, he announced his retirement from driving last November. Speaking of which, you see, if you're on CRN Live on YouTube right now, while the NHRA rightfully celebrates their 75th anniversary, they're looking ahead to 2027 for another noted celebration, this one honoring Force. Titled The Year of Force, it'll mark a year-long 50 years of Force celebration of the 16-time Funny Car champion, who has more event wins than any other driver in the history of the Mission Foods Drag Racing Series. Fans that want to be a part of the festivities can get a great memento as well, with the NHRA noting that race fans who attend races this year, renew their tickets at the track for 2027, will also get a commemorative 16-time championship ring honoring Force. You can see that ring right now. That actually would be a pretty cool thing to have. That right there is a nice memento.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Jim Dunn Racing is welcoming back a name from the NHRA's past and their own past, as it turns. Todd Lysenko made his NHRA debut in 2011, ran the final 3 events of the year, prompted a call from Dunn to join his team full-time in 2012. He was the only rookie to qualify for each event that year, but he left after that year, and now he's back 14 years later. Going to run under the duet of crew chiefs and John and Jim Dunn. Jim's still out there turning wrenches in his 90s. Sponsorship from Les Cure Mechanical, True Brand, Blaze Tech Services, KJC Construction, and Moon Equipment, plus more. You can see the picture of Lysenko up there on CRN Live on YouTube right now. Then we turn our attention to the IHRA. And you think, hey, it's been 2 weeks, right? How many more tracks has the IHRA bought? Well, actually, they haven't bought any. But they do have a lease deal. So they're in control of one. Virginia's Pulaski County Motorsports Park, which was formerly known as the Motor Mile Speedway, a facility slated to serve as the season opener for their new stock car series that gets to racing later this year. Motor Mile first opened up in 1952 as a dirt oval track, later evolved into a hub of racing in the Mid-Atlantic state. Got paved, became a 4/10 mile facility, later expanded to include a drag strip, caused the name change to Pulaski County Motorsports Park. Under the lease, the IHRA hopes to make it a focus for motorsports once again and consistently bring racing to that facility. Also, we've talked about this and we've covered it to some extent, the NHRA's Factory Stock Showdown. Well, the IHRA has, or had, the exact same thing, but they've decided to change the name. What had been Factory Stock Showdown now comes into this new year with the new name of Pro Stock. Not Pro Stock Car like the NHRA, just Pro Stock. Not much else changes. The cars being used are indeed those same factory-built Chevrolet Copo Camaros, Dodge Dragpack Challengers, and Ford Mustang Cobra Jets that we've talked about before. Similar, again, not only to the NHRA's own Factory Stock Showdown, but unlike their division, this year the IHRA is going to bring Pro Stock into the fun of the Outlaw Nitro Series. Pro Stock is going to join the Outlaw Nitro Series at each and every one of their events this year, including the Triple Crown Series events. Daryl Cuttle, IHRA's owner, said this move represents our continued commitment to professional drag racing and the evolution of IHRA competition. Pro Stock strengthens our platform, delivers incredible performance, gives fans the type of racing they expect at the highest level. The cars need to be bought as stock from GM, Ford, or Stellantis, owners of Dodge. IHRA officials said they will inspect the cars. They note that all the blowers and pulleys are going to get special attention to ensure that they were as they were built in the factory, or if that replacement parts were used, that they are equal to what the factory's installed. This is going to be interesting considering the fact that that Challenger has been replaced with a new one, and they haven't announced a drag pack yet.
Yeah.
And let's face it, the Camaro has gone the way of the Dodo Bird, at least as we know it. Mm-hmm. So you're buying used ones. You're buying older ones.
Yep.
Have fun, boys. To IndyCar, Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing has brought in former IndyCar Series driver Ryan Briscoe to become their driver's coach. You might remember Ryan Briscoe. We'll tell you his resume here in a moment. He will oversee all three 2026 drivers. He'll oversee Graham Rahal, Lewis Foster, and the rookie Mick Schumacher, last year's rookie Lewis Foster. Briscoe himself won 8 races during his time in the series with a number of teams, including Team Penske and Chip Ganassi Racing, and he was in a similar position with Prema Racing just last year, but with Prema, we're not really sure what their future is. He said, you know what, I'm going to go over there where I think things are a little more solid. With Briscoe on board and the hire of respected longtime IndyCar engineer Mike Pawlowski in as Mick Schumacher's race engineer, RLL president Jay Fry said this, quote, Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing has the foundation, the infrastructure, and the commitment. We've made multiple impactful strategic additions this offseason, the latest being Ryan and Mike as we position our IndyCar program to compete on a high level on a weekly basis. I don't know as this necessarily puts them in championship competition, but I think this does up the ante for them. They need to start to win races here because they have invested, like Jay Fry said, in the infrastructure here. This needs to start bearing out on the track.
Yeah, it's got to go from inside the walls to on the black strip.
Yep.
It's got to.
We'll find out. Team Penske, of course, notably fired 3 top executives last May after a technical infraction of the Indy 500 brought criticism of favoritism because Penske Entertainment also owns both the IndyCar Series and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. One of the 3 that got fired was Tim Cindric, the father of Team Penske NASCAR Cup Series driver Austin Cindric. Turns out that his time of being fired lasted less than a year. He's back. Yep. In the role this time of race strategist for Scott McLaughlin in the 3-car. Tim Cindric had been the team president of the IndyCar operation and race strategist for Joseph Newgarden when he got fired. In this new role, it's being said he won't necessarily be involved in the day-to-day operations of Team Penske or really even the 3-car. According to reports, he had shown actually some reluctance to rejoin the operation in the first place. When told of the hire, Scott McLaughlin said, I'm thrilled. Happy to have TC on my stand. From the moment I got here, his experience, knowledge, and focus are world-class, and I wanted to have him on the stand. That's what Scott McLaughlin said.
That's going to pick him up.
Yeah.
For sure.
He kind of needed it, truth be told. I mean, to go out in that way is really horrible.
Yep.
Former IndyCar driver Simona Di Silvestro, second mention of the Olympics here. She's not done going fast. She's going to be part of Italy's 2026 bobsled, or bobsleigh as some like to call it, team. Di Silvestro, who's of Swiss and Italian heritage, trains for the past several years to learn about the sport, putting behind her time in open wheel and sports car racing. She shared this week on her social media accounts, quote, we officially made it. We're going to the Olympic Games. Proof that a little crazy mixed with belief can make the impossible real. It all started with a dream that I wasn't scared to chase. I cannot wait to represent Italy in Milano Cortina in 2026. This is, I'm certain she's going to be the driver. this is going to be interesting because we're starting to see this more and more now. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it the Bodines who for a while were helping out USA Bobsled?
Yeah, Jeffrey.
And I found out this week, I think, or late last week, that the well-known Jamaican bobsled team from Cool Runnings movie fame, they're back this year. They qualified for the Olympics. Bobsled might actually be kind of fun to watch this year.
All right, a little bit of breaking information.
Okay, go for it.
The Cookout Clash has been postponed to Monday due to snow.
There you go.
The new schedule has practice and qualifying at 11 a.m. Eastern. Last chance qualifier at 4:30 Eastern. Race at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, there you go. Finally, how possible was it to maybe run a race in Washington, D.C.? An IndyCar spokesperson said a couple of weeks ago, quote, "We're actively exploring the feasibility of a race in the nation's capital in recognition of America's 250th birthday. Be an opportunity to celebrate a historic milestone." Well, as it turns out, just yesterday, the Trump administration announced the signing of an executive order announcing officially the Freedom 250 Grand Prix of Washington, D.C. The executive order states that within 2 weeks of the date of the signing, the Secretaries of the Interior and Transportation will have to designate a route suitable for a race to be held that showcases our nation's capital. The race is set, as the updated calendar says, for late August, August 21st through 23rd. So this means that, except for the very first weekend of the month of August, IndyCar's racing every weekend of that month. And the only reason they're not doing the first week is because that's the time set aside late July into early August that IndyCar said NBC and the World Cup is in town. We're not going to compete with them.
Right.
So this happens real fast without really knowing what the course is going to be. And we've now got 2 weeks to figure out how we're going to do a street course in Washington, D.C. No pressure. Y'all have a good time with that. We will, of course, join you once again for Crossed Flags coming up this week. Probably a home game again, just to let you know. Not that you're worried about it, as long as we get the podcast up, right? But really, that warning is for producer John. Y'all have a fantastic, hopefully fairly warm weekend. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.